Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. We are here to talk about a topic many people are curious about: how in the world to best deal and get out of debt. This is probably some of your all's New Year's resolution, and I have great faith that at least one of the options will help each and every one of you that we're offering today. So I'm Kim Allison. I'm the VP of Marketing and Business Development. I've been with CDC Federal Credit Union for 2 years now, and I've been in the credit union industry for over 25. So my email address is on the first page, kallison@cdcfcu.com. If you have any questions following the webinar, or if you have any questions anytime in the future, you can reach out to me. So let's take a moment to cover our agenda. First, we will talk about a few initial steps to take to prepare to pay off debt. Then we will talk about 5 different options people use to tackle their debt and cover some pros and cons of each one. And then finally, we will wrap up with tips to stay on track for dealing with debt. Let's start out by looking at how to get prepared to pay off debt. First, getting a clear understanding of your current financial situation can feel intimidating or perhaps even scary, but it is imperative to your debt-free success. Knowing where you currently stand will help you set clear, realistic goals and evaluate your options confidently. Start out by making a list of all income. This will include anything you can count on to come in consistently. So your paycheck, child support, Social Security, however you receive your money each month, you need to know how much you have to work with each month. Make sure you aren't including overtime unless it is guaranteed to be consistent, or other income that may vary significantly or be unreliable. Inconsistent income like overtime and side hustles can be used as extra money to reach your goals quicker, but it is best to not consider them as part of your budget unless it's guaranteed. Review your checking and savings accounts so that you know where you stand. Next, it is important to understand where your money is currently going. Review your statements to make a detailed list of all monthly bills and payment obligations, as well as anything else your money consistently goes to. So examples would be food, gas, childcare, entertainment, subscriptions, any kind of other miscellaneous expenses. Take a look back over a few months to get a good picture of this, an accurate representation, I guess I would say, of the average amount you spend in each area over time. So don't just look at December, because we may have a very skewed number when doing so. It is also important to make a list of all the debt you owe. Know who you owe, exactly how much you owe them, the current interest rates, current monthly minimum payments, and if anything is currently past due. Okay, so I'm going to dig into this for a minute. Please enter into the chat if you know the interest rate you're paying on your credit card. Do I have any takers? Too much. Okay, probably 29%. Yes, too much, too much. Yeah, okay. 23, 4%. Wow, that's amazing. I want one of those. Okay, yes. So, all right, you guys, A lot of people had an answer to that question. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't know what interest rate we're paying on our credit card. And if you do know the interest rate you're paying on the credit card, do you know the interest rate you're paying on every credit card that you use? Hopefully you only use one credit card, but some of us use multiple credit cards because of points or whatever, for whatever reason we decide to use multiple credit cards. So knowing that interest rate on all the cards is important. Let me close the chat. Okay. I also want to encourage you to pull a copy of your credit reports from all three credit bureaus. That's TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Reviewing your credit report can help you ensure you have not forgotten anything. Or maybe there is something floating around out there that you don't even realize existed. It's recommended to get in the habit of reviewing your credit report once a year. And we recommend going to annualcreditreport.com to review your reports for free from all those three bureaus that I just listed. So if you type in free credit report in Google, there's going to be a bunch of websites that come up, and some of them, most of them will charge. And sometimes they make you fill out information, then they tell you at the end they charge you. You should not pay for your credit report. If you go to annualcreditreport.com, it is free. Okay. Each financial situation is unique, and taking all these steps to get prepared are all important, as they will help you determine which options to pay off debt may or may not work for you. There is no cut and dry solution that is guaranteed to work best for everyone, and there are pros and cons to every option that must be weighed individually. I know getting rid of debt can feel daunting and perhaps even impossible, and it can be hard to know what options are even available, not to mention the added pressure of trying to determine what is legitimate versus a scam. Let's move into taking a look at some different options that may help becoming debt-free feel more realistic for you. So today we are going to touch on 5 main options to get rid of debt. Doing it on your own, debt consolidation loans, debt settlement, aka debt relief sometimes, bankruptcy, and final, debt management plans. Chances are you may have already been trying to pay off debt on your own, but without a plan, your success may have been limited. If you have money left over in your budget, a strategy to pay the debt down may be as simple as increasing the monthly payments. If this is you, consider the debt snowball method, which is a strategy where you pay off debt in order of smallest to largest balances, gaining momentum as you go. It is extremely important to make sure you always make the minimum payment for all accounts and then put any extra funds towards the smallest account balance. Once that account is paid off, success relies on you consistently redirecting all the money you were paying towards that account to the next debt until all balances are paid in full. The debt snowball method can be inspiring as you start making progress, and you can see that money snowball growing as debts get paid off. Let me check chat because it seems like I may have had. Okay, there is not a best time to pull your credit report. You can do it anytime you want, and I think you can do it once a week. I don't recommend doing that. It's not going to change once a week, and that's overwhelming and could just take up lots and lots of time. But pulling it definitely once a year, and maybe every few months if you are making adjustments and you want to see, that things are, being handled. It does not include your score. And yes, I will send a copy of the slides. Okay, so we're going to move on. You can also consider the debt avalanche method, which is the strategy of allowing enough money to make the minimum payment on each debt, then paying extra to the debt with the highest interest rate. So this is the one that I like because in the long run, it will save you more money. But if you're the type of person that needs to see a debt disappear quickly or quicker, the snowball method is for you. So you would start with the least amount that you owe, the smallest card, and pay that one off first so that you see that one is completely paid off. But the avalanche, you pay the one with the highest interest rate and add any extra money towards that one after you've made your minimum monthly payments to all accounts. Okay. And finally, you could approach each creditor to ask if they offer an internal hardship program or promotions to help lower interest rates and stop late fees to allow you to pay off the debt faster. Make sure you are keeping track of the conversations with the creditors. When you speak to them, so write the date down, the name of the person, and what was agreed to. Review your budget to ensure you are not agreeing to something that is not realistic for you to follow through on. So if they say, sure, we'll make this available to you, you can pay it off. As long as you pay $1,000 every month, we won't charge you this interest rate, we'll give you this lower one. But if you know you only have $300 every single month to make, then you're not going to meet their requirement. So make sure you don't agree to that. Know all the details before you decide to do something. As I mentioned earlier, every option has unique pros and cons. The pro of all three of these on your own options is it doesn't cost you anything to implement them. You also wouldn't have to apply or be subject to underwriting approval requirements. Some creditors may need some information from you to determine if they can offer a hardship program, but it's not as in-depth as applying for a loan. In general, if done as intended, these options will typically have little or no negative impact on credit and may allow you to keep the accounts open if that is your goal. Be sure to ask about this if pursuing a hardship option with the creditor. So some hardship options may require the account to be closed. So make sure that you know what their requirements are. However, there are challenges to tackling debt on your own, which is probably why we're all on this webinar, because this is a challenging thing to do, including the need for strict self-accountability to follow through with constant pulls all around us to spend our money in other ways or get off track. Something to consider if choosing to reach out for credit hardship plans may be the time commitment to make the calls, as well as your comfort level reaching out to have these conversations with creditors. You're also at the mercy of the willingness of each creditor to offer an option. If it's an option that will last long term, and if it's an option that will last long term. Creditors may also freeze or completely close an account as part of the hardship program. For many, there is not money left over each month. Increasing payments isn't in the cards for people who are barely breaking even or perhaps even running short each month. The good news is there are other options, starting with option 2, debt consolidation loans. Debt consolidation can come in many different forms. The intent is to borrow money, use that money to pay off other debts, and then have one monthly payment to the lender instead of sending money to multiple different creditors. A consolidation loan could be an unsecured loan, which requires no collateral, or a secured loan, which means something of value, such as your home, is put up for collateral. This could take the form of a home equity loan or a line of credit or a title loan. It is imperative you understand all the terms and what is at risk if something happens and you were to fall behind on those payments. Pros of debt consolidation loans include knowing your monthly payment will be and for how long. So knowing how much that monthly payment is for the extended amount of time is a lot more calming than thinking, well, I've got 5 credit cards and I don't know, there's all these different minimum payments, and you're not sure what you're stepping into for the future. But getting that debt consolidation loan could tell you, okay, you're going to have this loan for 3 years. This is your payment. You feel you can make that payment every month. You feel secure. So it is it can affect you emotionally, is what I'm trying to say, because spending money is emotional. We do have another webinar that I give that's the psychology of spending. So it's very interesting how our emotions influence us in our money decisions. And the goal of getting a consolidation loan is typically to lock in a lower interest rate and therefore ideally a lower monthly payment than the previous payments combined. For example, we have over here, I did see that someone put in 4%, but I mean, I've never had a 4% credit card loan. So I think most people are probably, even 15% is pretty low. So anywhere from 15 to 30%. But a debt consolidation loan could be much lower than that, depending on your credit. So if you're paying the lower interest rate, then they will typically save you money overall. I have lots of comments in here. I will get your questions answered. I'm going to move forward with the presentation so I can complete it, hopefully within the hour. But if I don't get to your question by the end, I will email the answers out. Thank you. Okay, moving forward. Your accounts may or may not be closed when you pay off balances with a consolidation loan. Be sure to ask this question if exploring this option. If the account stays open and you acquire more debt, then suddenly you find yourself in a debt consolidation loan payment and credit card payments. So again, this is, you've got to know, okay, this is how much money I have, this is what I have coming in, coming out, and this is what I can put towards that debt consolidation loan, which means I cannot use those credit cards until I complete this other obligation. On the flip side, a few things to keep in mind. Since this is a loan, you do typically have to apply and go through an underwriting and approval process. Income, assets, employment history, credit, and amount of debt compared to your income will typically be factors taken into strong consideration. A debt consolidation loan may have a negative impact on your credit due to a new inquiry and new accounts. And perhaps most important to weigh heavily, if you take a secured loan, you are risking the collateral, such as your home or vehicle, if you can't afford the payments and fall behind. Exercise caution before using a secured loan to consolidate and pay off unsecured debt. especially if there is a hint of financial uncertainty that could lead to making payments consistently a concern. The interest rates are typically better on secured loans because there is less risk to the lender, but it's really important for you to weigh the risk to yourself simultaneously. For example, if you use a home equity or a home equity loan or a home equity to consolidate your debt, if something happens and you can't keep up with that payment, your house is now at risk of foreclosure because the home was used to secure it. Okay, up next is debt settlement, which can also sometimes be known as debt relief. Back up for a minute. Yes, this is probably a question in there that I haven't been able to look at. We do debt consolidation loans, personal loans, we do the home equity loans. So, that is something that we can help you with if you are in the position to do so. Okay, so now we're moving to debt settlement. If you have been looking on the internet for debt help, you most likely have seen settlement company ads, or maybe you've seen them late night TV. In general, this is a solution that is typically best used to help someone work on cleaning up debt after it is already in collections. And we'll talk about why. So debt settlement is a negotiation between a creditor and a borrower to pay back a portion of outstanding debt while the remainder of the debt is forgiven. For example, you might owe $5,000 and the creditor could agree to a settlement where you pay $3,500 and the $1,500 difference would be forgiven. I mentioned debt settlement or debt relief companies, but you can also choose to attempt to negotiate a settlement on your own. It's up to you. It's up to your creditor's discretion if they are willing to negotiate and what a settlement offer could look like. It will typically be much easier if you already have the funds to negotiate and pay immediately, and if the amount is already past due. People are often most successful negotiating settlements on collection accounts. Make sure you obtain any settlement offers your creditor agrees to in writing and make sure you know how they will report this to the credit bureaus. Settlement may save you money if you are able to successfully negotiate a lower balance. If you enter into a payment plan or work with a debt settlement company to pay off accounts you are currently paying on, your monthly payment may potentially be lower than your current monthly payments. Again, settlement can be an option for resolving outstanding collection account balances quicker, and it can be an option to avoid more drastic or last resort options like non-payment or bankruptcy. But it's also important to keep several things in mind if considering a settlement. First, not all creditors are willing to participate in debt settlement programs or negotiate a settlement with you and with a debt settlement company working on your behalf. If you are including accounts that are still open and active in a debt settlement program, those accounts typically fall past due if you work with a debt settlement company. The debt settlement program typically hangs on to your money until a certain balance is reached in your account with them, at which point they reach out to the creditor and attempt to negotiate a settlement. Again, remember, it's up to the creditor's discretion if they will agree to negotiate or not. In the meantime, credit card accounts will fall past due and no payments will typically be made until enough money has accumulated to offer a settlement. As this happens, the accounts will typically close Additional late fees and interest will accumulate, and you will likely receive numerous collection calls because your creditors are left in the dark in this process. As those payments start falling past due and balances increase with interest and fees, this can lead to a negative impact on your credit score, as those are the two largest factors impacting it. Again, interest and fees will start collecting. It will lead to a negative impact on your credit score. Okay, so if the accounts fall far enough past due, the creditor may send it to collections and/or pursue legal action to attempt to collect the balance owed. If you are pursuing debt settlement, please pay close attention to any mail you receive and take immediate action on any legal notices or court summons. While upfront negotiating a settled balance sounds like a good way to save money, please note that settlement companies will charge you fees. Plus, as we have discussed, you will have additional fees and interest charges on past due balances. And if the creditor does not agree to negotiate a settlement, you'll be on the hook for that entire balance. If your credit score suffers as well, this can lead to future credit being more expensive to obtain, as you may only be eligible for higher interest rate or subprime lending options. So just take everything into account when you're looking at this option or when you're looking at any of the 5 options. And finally, if a creditor does negotiate a settlement, there may be tax liability on the portion you weren't required to pay, as the IRS does consider this a form of income. So remember the $1,500 that they were forgiving? That could potentially be seen as $1,500 in income. So I recommend you speak to your tax professional if you are considering settlement to get clear understanding of potential tax liability. Again, there is a time and a place that debt settlement makes sense, especially if you are trying to resolve some old collection accounts. But a lot of people are not made aware of what they are signing up for with a debt settlement company. And they wish that they had more information like this before enrolling open accounts in a debt settlement program. Okay, so moving on, we are on option number 4, which is bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a legal process through which people who cannot repay debts to creditors may seek relief from some or all of their debts. Although you can file bankruptcy without an attorney, it is typically not recommended. This should be reserved as a last resort after exploring all other options due to the significant impact it can have. There are 2 main types of personal bankruptcy. Chapter 13, which does typically still require repayment through the court of all or a portion of the debt owed. Or Chapter 7, which typically allows debt to be discharged without requiring repayment. Talking with an attorney can help you understand which you may be eligible for. Many bankruptcy attorneys will offer a free initial consultation to help you get some clarity on what filing bankruptcy may look like for you. Again, there are pros and cons here. A pro would be that filing bankruptcy may be able to stop adverse action, including garnishment, repossession, and foreclosure. Absolutely seek legal advice if this is something you are facing. Bankruptcy may also stop collection calls and provide you some relief there as well. Depending on the terms of bankruptcy, you may end up paying out less to creditors than you would with other options. Again, you may. It is not guaranteed. However, there are upfront expenses involved. Typically, filing bankruptcy involves attorney and court fees that must be paid. Really weigh this carefully, especially if they are pursuing a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, as you have these additional fees on top and of still repaying some or all of the debt. Your income and assets may have an impact on your ability to file and have debts discharged. And not all forms of debt are able to be included and or discharged in a bankruptcy. Bankruptcy can stay on the credit report for up to 10 years, impacting your ability to obtain future credit and the cost of obtaining that credit. It's not impossible to rebuild credit after bankruptcy, but it is a bit more of an uphill battle. And it will take longer. Again, this is important to weigh, especially in the instance of a Chapter 13 bankruptcy that would typically still require debt repayment. If there is another option to repay the debt that can avoid the credit impact of bankruptcy, it is worth exploring carefully. And our final option we'll discuss today is debt management plans. This is probably the least known option of all 5. So debt management plans are typically for unsecured debt, like credit cards, collection accounts, medical bills, and in some cases, payday or personal loans. Although these tend to be more case by case compared to the credit card and collections. We partner with a nonprofit credit counseling agency called GreenPath Financial Wellness to offer debt management plans to our members. Through a debt management plan, GreenPath creates a structured repayment plan to pay the debt off in full. And they reach out to your creditors on your behalf to potentially get lower interest rates and perhaps waived late fees officially agreed to by your creditor. As you send money to GreenPath, they send each creditor a payment on your behalf every month until the balance is paid in full. This is different from a debt settlement program because GreenPath does not negotiate the balances themselves. It is simply the terms of the debt repayment negotiated, and the creditors are involved every step of the way, so they're not left in the dark. GreenPath sends your creditors a proposal. They agree to accept a certain payment and offer a certain interest rate until the debt is paid in full, and they continue to get a payment from you every month. Looking at the pros of a debt management plan, there are no minimum credit score or approval requirements like there would be with a loan. Another key benefit is that the debt management plan is typically structured to pay the full debt balance owed within 3 to 5 years at the most. A debt management plan also offers the benefit of getting money to one place. You make a deposit to GreenPath, and then they distribute the payment to your creditors on your behalf every month. This makes it easier for you than juggling multiple payments and due dates. And finally, one of the biggest pros of debt management plan is what creditors are able to offer through it. Every creditor has different terms they can offer. So it will vary from creditor to creditor, but many are able to offer significantly reduced interest rates, which leads to lower monthly payments required as less needs to go to keeping up with interest charges while still being able to pay in full within the 5 years. As with all other options we've discussed, there are still some important things to weigh and keep in mind, including the fact that on a debt management plan, The creditor will close the accounts included. Having the cards close may actually be a pro if your goal is to become debt-free and not ever get back into debt. Not having access to use the credit cards may be a good thing. When those cards do all close at once, this will lead to an initial negative impact on your credit. However, if accounts have already started to fall past due or are maxed out, you have more than likely already seen most of the negative impact and can only go up from there. As balances are paid off more aggressively and positive payment history builds, many people do use a debt management plan to pay off debt. Who do use it see their credit score increase over the life of the program, even if there is an initial negative impact when the debt management plan starts. If you are considering a debt management plan and are concerned about credit impact, GreenPath will absolutely talk in more detail about what this may look like for your specific credit situation and help you develop a plan to rebuild your credit score as soon as possible. I do also want to clarify that while many creditors, especially major credit card companies, would officially agree to work with a debt management plan, some may not, but will still typically accept the payments and post them towards your balance. And finally, while having a conversation about the best options for you to tackle your debt, I do want you to be aware there is typically a small setup fee and a monthly maintenance fee associated with enrolling in a debt management plan. Those fees are regulated by state law and vary from state to state. Typically, any fee for a debt management plan is significantly outweighed by the savings obtained through the creditor concessions, and GreenPath will talk this through with you in detail if you are considering this option to make sure it's a win for you. We partner with them because they have been providing financial assistance as a nonprofit since 1961. So, over 60 years. I know I just threw a lot of information at you, but I hope at least one of these options has captured your attention and feels like it may be a realistic option for you. Regardless of which option you choose, there are a few tips that will be important to stay on track and keep you on track towards this goal of getting rid of your debt. The first of which being to develop a budget or a spending plan. A budget is really just a plan of knowing where your money is going and is designed to help you keep track of making sure your money is going to the places you want it to be going to help you reach your financial goals. Having and sticking to a budget will be key to your success of paying off debt. It's also important to track your spending to make sure you are on track with your budget and your financial goals. There are various ways to do this. The cash envelope system. So you decide I'm spending a certain amount on food every month and you put that amount of cash into an envelope. I'm spending a certain amount on entertainment every month and you put that specific amount in an envelope. Once the amount is gone, you stop spending. You don't have any left. There's nothing left in the envelope. Then unfortunately, you don't get to do that item, but you haven't overspent. So that is a very simplistic way to do it. You can manage this with just good old-fashioned pen and paper. You can use spreadsheets. Excel works great. Or there's plenty of apps. And then we also have some budgeting tools built into our online banking system. So there's there is a tool available to you in whatever way or format that you would like to use. It is out there. You just may have to do some searching. So find whatever works for you and commit to keeping a close eye on where every dollar is going. I would suggest when you build your budget, absolutely review it every single month until you get used to having it. It may take a couple months to get it right, but until you get used to that and constantly reviewing it, if one little thing happens and you get out of step, then you're back to where you were. So keep reviewing that every single month. And I did send you some worksheets this morning. So if you will please use those to help you with your budgeting. I also encourage people to have savings available to fall back on in an emergency before starting to aggressively tackle debt. So again, if you're doing any of this on your own, well, even with someone, whether it's debt management or any of the other options, please make sure you have an emergency savings fund. I know this feels a little counterintuitive, but you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you have to take out more debt to cover an emergency. So if your you got to replace your tires, whatever may happen, car repair, whatever, or the AC goes out. You just never know what might happen. So definitely have an emergency fund. Next, look for opportunities to reduce expenses and/or bring more money in with the purpose of putting those extra funds towards paying off debt quicker. Remember, cutting out expenses that are considered more of a luxury or picking up extra shifts or a side gig isn't forever. It's a temporary sacrifice to help you reach your goal quicker. And finally, my biggest tip to stay on track is to know why you are doing this. Set clear goals and make sure they are realistic and attainable. Have smaller goals and milestones within your large goal to keep you motivated. Know what you are working towards. Have a plan for how you can realistically get there and celebrate your successes at every step of the way. If you would like to take a closer look at your specific financial situation and which of these options may be the best fit, you are welcome and encouraged to call our partners at GreenPath Financial Wellness. Again, GreenPath is a nonprofit organization we partner with to provide resources to help you lead a financially healthy life. GreenPath certified counselors can conduct a free confidential financial assessment with you. This involves taking a look at your budget and collaborating to develop an action plan to help you work towards your financial goals. GreenPath can also talk about other financial concerns or goals you have related to things like credit, housing, student loans, or debt. I did mention earlier that GreenPath offers the debt management plans, so especially reach out if you are interested in that option. But I want to reiterate that their mission and passion is financial wellness, and they are not going to attempt to sell you on a debt management plan if it is not a good fit for you. GreenPath's financial wellness experts will discuss pros and cons of any and all options that make sense for you. If you would like to speak with a financial wellness expert, you can call GreenPath or learn more on their website. Please go ahead and take a screenshot or a picture of this slide if you would like to, but someone did ask for the slides, so I will send them out once I have a few minutes to collect everything together to look back through all your questions. So also, if you are not a member but are interested in joining the credit union, CDC Federal Credit Union, then please use our promo code DEBT26 when you fill out the application. So by using that promo code, we will fund the $25 into your savings account that will open and maintain that membership. Simply go to our website and click the green apply button. So our website is listed there at cdcfcu.com, and click the apply button and follow the prompts. I offer financial webinars every single month. My next webinar is Keys to Home Buying. It is on February 11th at 12 p.m. And the QR code that you guys are seeing, that goes to my page with my webinars. I am going to let you know about another webinar that my financial advisor here is offering here at the credit union. We have one on staff. His name is Henry Chenault, and his webinar is Basics of Estate Planning, and it is on January 21st at 12. All the recordings will be sent out to everyone, so if you can't attend that time, that's not a problem. His webinars are not on my page, they're on his page. So you will go to cdcfcu.com, the menu button, and then investments and retirements, click onto his page, and you can register for his there. Let's see, anything else? I think that's everything. I touched on it all. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for attending. I would love for you, I've built a survey. If you will fill that out when you close out, that would be very helpful. And now I'm going to review some of your questions because I think I have a couple of minutes. So let me see if there's anything I can answer in here real quick. But please fill out the survey if you have to go ahead and jump off. All right, let's see. Oh, there's lots of questions. I do believe that the National Debt Relief Program is a settlement program. I do believe that. I have not talked with them myself, but just take all the information I gave you today, ask the right questions, write everything down. Don't make a decision on the fly. Make sure that you are comfortable. Yes, the recording will be sent to you. Okay, okay. Okay, it looks like everybody wants to know more about National Debt Relief. I'll see if there's some information I can find and email to you guys. Yes, there are fees. There are going to be fees with anything that someone is helping you with. But as you will see, if GreenPath, I'm not sure, seems like there is a setup fee, and then it was about $75 a month, but usually that is made up for with what they get your interest rates lowered by. So that is, I would definitely look into all options, get information before you make a decision, because I'm not sure how much a debt settlement company is going to charge. And again, it's a very different way. It's a very different way to go about it. So anything webinar specific to student loans. I don't have one built currently, but I will put that on my list. Okay, let's see. If you have questions about loans, feel free to call into the credit union and go ahead and connect with a loan officer. If you know that you want to move forward with a debt consolidation loan, you can fill out the application. It's that same green apply now button, and it will prompt you on whether you're opening a membership or an actual loan. I'm moving this over here, sorry. Okay. Uh, How can balance transfer cards help with debt management? I mean, look, if you can manage yourself and you can do a balance transfer and pay 0% for a certain amount of time and make sure that you are diligent in how you are paying off that debt, that can work. But a lot of us can't do that. Things happen and then we get behind again. And usually, or sometimes, those interest rates on those credit cards can be a lot higher. Yes, of course, I'll resend the other materials that I sent this morning. I will absolutely send those out. Okay, so I think we're good. I want to thank everyone for joining me. I appreciate your time. Please fill out the survey and join me for the next one on February 11th. I would love to have you. Thanks so much. Have a great day.